Well, here we are. It is Thursday, the one sunny day we've had in 2 months, and it happens to be Groundhog's Day. So the groundhog saw his shadow. So we are destined to have 6 weeks more of winter. And right now we are in the midst of a snowstorm here in Lackawanna.
Oh, really?
Got massive wind, and they're predicting whiteouts and ugliness. So
We just have cold here.
So here we are. So let's, as we begin tonight, let's open in prayer. Dear God, we give you thanks for this time we can be together. God, no matter what the weather is, we might lose internet or something sometimes, but God, we don't lose you. We ask that you will keep our connection strong during this hour that we're together. Allow the internet to be where we can hear from each other, and allow us to record this for people who listen later. We ask God that you will guide our hearts and our minds and our questions as we learn together of your word. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so who remembers anything from last week? My first question. Carol's got an excuse, but she should have listened to it.
Well, I re-listened since I had to leave halfway through it. So, and I remember Nancy was answering the question that Rebecca and Isaac were first cousins once removed.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Ishmael ended up with 7 and 12 offspring, which became
Yeah.
12 nations plus the other 12 nations. So really there were 2 sets of 12 nations. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, from Abraham. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
12 descendants. Yep.
And then I love that, knowing that Isaac really loved Rebecca.
Yeah,
You know, like you said, that was really tender, that one part.
it was. And we'll get a little more into that this week. Another thing about Isaac's personality, why that would maybe be possible as we go. Hi, Kate.
Donna's back.
Kate.
Oh,
Hi,
no, that's
everyone.
Kay. Nope, it's Kay. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm a little late. Kathy, are you better?
I am. Thank you so much for
I'm
asking.
so glad.
Thank you.
Okay, so we were learning about, we found that Isaac's son of the promise, we can't say Abraham's son of the promise, not his only son, because how many sons did Abraham have?
Whoa.
At least 2.
That was Isaac that had that. I know that Jacob had 12. How many did Abraham have?
2.
2 that we know of.
Wait, think a little more.
There was a whole bunch by his second wife.
Right.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
all those.
We
Oh,
don't
yeah.
necessarily know if they were all boys or girls, but
That's right. He had a whole slew of kids from Keturah.
Yeah. He had 6 from her.
Yeah, there's 6. So we always just want to point that out. We just want to not remember that. But Abraham did have others, but Isaac was the one of the promise, and Ishmael also became a child of the promise to Hagar.
Uh-huh.
Ishmael went. The other ones just went down their own road and never heard of again. So now we have Isaac. And to whom was Isaac married?
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Mhm. And Rebecca was from where?
From his Abraham's home.
Okay, Abraham's ancestral home, and was the daughter of his nephew, Laban. Was Laban? I can't remember now.
No, you said Laban was Rebecca's brother.
Laban was Rebecca's brother. And I can't remember how. Anyways, they were first cousins once removed. So that's good to remember. Yeah.
Bethuel? Bethuel? Son-
I gotta go back and see who was. Bethuel, let's see.
Who was the son of Nahor, you said?
Right.
And
So
Nahor and
Nahor-
Milcah were married, right?
Nahor was Abraham's brother.
Right.
And then he had the daughter of sister of Laban. So it's a generation down. So Rebecca is a generation lower than Isaac. So Isaac would have been first cousins with Rebecca's father. So that's where it is. Okay. Anyway, we've got Isaac married and this tenderness. Now, do you think Isaac was a real rah-rah He-Man, let's go out hunting, fishing guy? Do we have any evidence of this? I hear the crickets. Okay, there's going to be evidence as we go along that Isaac was kind of a quiet, timid kind of guy. And why might that have been?
Because of his mother. He was a important guy and was spoiled and
His mother got sent off away.
Nope, nope, that was Hagar. That was Ishmael. I'm talking Isaac.
Did he become quieter after he was found out his father was willing to sacrifice him?
Yeah, that might have
oh,
been pretty big on him to realize that he really was
Yeah.
nothing compared to God, and Abraham's ready to kill him. God says so. So you just kind of, he may have had some PTSD after that.
Yeah, you think?
I just stay in the background and hide.
Yeah, just stay back there. Don't notice me. So we'll see that more. And so with that, when he's not this rah-rah He-Man, I can go out and do anything. People like that tend to be a little more tender. And so his that relationship with Rebecca and that tenderness that at least it started out as may have been a gift that came from the pain. So just saying. So today we're on chapter 25, Genesis, and we're going to start with verses 19 through 26. So let's see what happened with Isaac and Rebecca. If someone would like to read that. Genesis 25, 19 through 26.
And start that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to get more light. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is the account of the family of Isaac, the son of Abraham. When Isaac was 40 years old, he married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean from Padarama, and the sister of Laban, is it Aramean?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Isaac pleaded with the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was unable to have children. The Lord answered Isaac's prayer, and Rebekah became pregnant with twins. But the two children struggled with each other in her womb. So he went to ask the Lord about it. Why is this happening to me? She asked. And the Lord told her, the sons in your womb will become two nations. From the very beginning, the two nations will be rivals. One nation will be stronger than the other, and your older son will serve your younger son. And when the time came to give birth, Rebekah discovered that she did indeed have twins. The first one was very red at birth and covered with thick hair like a fur coat. So they named him Esau. And the other twin was born with his hand grasping Esau's heel. So they named him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when the twins were born.
Okay. So let's go back a little bit and do some math. How old was Isaac when he got married?
40.
And how old was he when the twins were born? 60. Wow. They'd been married a long time. Seems like most of the important people in the Bible their mothers were barren for a long time. There's several cases of that. So now we have to talk about the names. These names are very meaningful in Hebrew. And the word for red in Hebrew is admoni. Admoni. And let's see, and Harry was, let's see, Hebrew for Seir. So I guess they kind of combined it, but he was Esau, so it meant he was basically a hairy baby. And Jacob, the word is that it was grasping something. Let's see. The verb in Jacob's name means to follow at the heel, kind of like a dog would follow you. So that's Jacob's name. So that's where they came from. So Rebecca had this talk with God, who told her about these twins. And they had the prophecy that the elder will serve the younger. Now, it just doesn't seem fair when there's twins that they must have been born very quickly. There was no big, long time grasp between them. That one that was born 1 minute or 30 seconds before the other one got everything and the second one got nothing. But that's the way it was. The oldest one inherited everything. So Esau was the firstborn by this few seconds, and Jacob's left out of everything. So let's remember that. And let's go on. Now, are these brothers identical twins?
No,
No, I had to ask an easy question to make you feel better.
thank you.
Okay, these are definitely fraternal twins, and being that I'm married to a fraternal twin, I've got a little idea about this competition thing, even though David's brother is not around much now, but when we were first married, there was fierce competition between the two of them. I never saw anything. This is part of David when they were playing tennis. They were both very good athletes. And David would he was so condescending because he'd just get one shot and his brother would miss it. And then his brother would get mad. And then David would just get like a little smile on his face. And then he'd just play on his anger. It was just brutal. You thought blood was going to start flowing because they were just these fierce competitors and totally different looking. And I mean, we often thought that they weren't really twins, but they were adopted together and passed off as twins because they were born on the same day. But that's not true. They were twins. We found out now that they definitely were twins, but I read this story and I get this watching them. So we've got Jacob, the younger one, Esau, the older one, very, very different personalities. So let's start with verse 27 and let's see how these personalities played out. So we want to go from 27 through 34.
I can read that. The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was a quiet man, staying among the tents. Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country famished. He said to Jacob, "Quick, let me have some of that red stew. I'm famished." That is why he was also called Edom. Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." "Look, I am about to die," Esau said. "What is the birthright to me?" But Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore an oath to him, selling his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and some lentil stew. He ate, drank, and then got up and left. Esau despised his birthright.
Okay, let's unpack this situation a little bit. Can you see the different personalities we got? They're just day and night different. And how can there ever be two siblings that are day and night different from the other one?
Very easily.
Yes.
No
Yes.
comment there.
So we know that siblings can be very different and their
Yeah.
temperaments are completely different. So what happens in this situation when what's going on with Esau that he would so easily give up his birthright, his whole inheritance?
He was hungry,
Yeah.
very hungry.
Okay, so let's picture him. He's out hunting, maybe for days, and it was not a fruitful hunt. So he could have been at the point of feeling like he was going to pass out if he didn't get food. And anybody get to the point when you're just so hungry you can't think anymore? Nobody? Sue has.
You could ask the Haitians about that. They probably know and we don't.
Say that again, Dottie?
You could ask the Haitians about that feeling.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, we don't too often get that, but the kids that are so hungry, and he's just going, I gotta eat. You got that food right there, and I gotta eat, and oh, give me your birthright. So he's going, ha ha! Finally, that 30-second difference between you and me, I'm making it right now. Ha ha!
And how long had Jacob been thinking about how am I going to get that birthright? You think it was a just happened, or you think he'd been thinking about that for a long time?
What do you think?
I think he's been thinking about it.
I think yeah, that's a pretty big thing. Let's see, I'm just looking ahead here. So we have to remember that this isn't like just a hungry, oh gee, I didn't get breakfast. This is maybe several days that he had been out. So he's exhausted, and Jacob took advantage of the situation and he got the birthright. So we just see that these two boys. Do you think we see anything of Rebecca at this time egging Jacob on?
Maybe.
Okay, why would she egg Jacob on?
She preferred him over his brother.
Why do you think
Well,
it was?
God told her that he was going to be.
Okay, God told her that Jacob was going to be the
Mhm.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why do you think that one parent preferred one child and the other one preferred the other one?
Well, I think personality, sometimes you just kind of gravitate to one over the other sometimes.
Yeah. Just something. So she's in the house cooking and Jacob's right there. Hand me the salt, Jacob. And Esau's going, what's salt? And Jacob's, well, here it is. I want the pepper to go with it. And yeah. So they're just their personalities fled for these people. All right. So
And
we've got
Jacob was more like Isaac, quiet and I mean, you said that Isaac was the quiet one. Jacob stayed around. So maybe Isaac preferred somebody that wasn't like him. And Rebecca loved Isaac. So Jacob was more like Isaac. So maybe that's why she preferred him too.
makes sense. And maybe Esau was the things that Isaac hadn't been able to do. Maybe he just kind of admired him because he was that manly out there guy that he could have done. So don't know. Okay, so we've got this personality going. Now we're going to go and focus on Isaac and Rebecca for a while. So we're going to go to 26 and let's break this down. 1 through 11. So we're going to look at the two boys for a little bit.
I'll read that. Now there was a famine in the land besides the earlier famine of Abraham's time, and Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines in Gerar. The Lord appeared to Isaac and said, do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land where I tell you to live. Stay in the land, this land for a while, and I will be with you and will bless you. For to you and your descendants, I will give all these lands and will confirm the oath I swore to your father, Abraham. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and I will give them all these lands. And through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed. I think we've heard that before. Because Abraham obeyed me and kept my requirements, my commands, my decrees, and my laws, so Isaac stayed in Gerar. When the men of that place asked him about his wife, he said, she is my sister, because he was afraid to say, she's my wife. He thought, the men of this place might kill me on account of Rebekah because she is beautiful.
We've heard this before too.
Uh-huh. When Isaac had been there a long time, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked down from a window and saw Isaac caressing his wife, Rebekah. So Abimelech summoned Isaac and said, she is really your wife. Why did you say she is my sister? Isaac answered him, because I thought I might lose my life on account of her. Then Abimelech said, what is this you have done to us? One of them might well have slept with your wife, and you would have brought guilt upon us. So Abimelech gave orders to all the people. Anyone who molests this man or his wife shall surely be put to death.
Okay. Well, this is a new story.
Wait, yeah, sure.
Well, I want to go, everybody open to Genesis 20. And read the first, somebody read the first 5 verses.
I've got it.
Okay,
Abraham moved from Mamre to the southern part of Canaan and lived between Kadesh and Shur. Later, while he was living in Gerar, he said that his wife Sarah was his sister. So King Abimelech of Gerar had Sarah brought to him. One night, God appeared to him in a dream and said, you are going to die because you have taken this woman. She is already married. But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, Lord, I am innocent. Would you destroy me and my people? Abraham himself said that she was his sister, and she said the same thing. I did this with a clear conscience, and I have done no wrong.
okay. Do we see something? Okay, where is, for both of them, what country is, what's the land?
Gerar,
Gerar, they're both there. Who's the king?
Abimelech.
Abimelech.
How many?
Now it's not like Herod with more than one that's with the same name. Abimelech's the same Abimelech, right?
Well, how many years after was this?
There's an awful lot of years that we can't understand, so who knows if it's the same one. But
This is a long time. This is like 60 years later. So it's probably not the same Abimelech. Same name. Maybe it's his son. Who knows?
I love that name, but the only thing that
Abimelech?
comes to mind is, you know the song, The Lion Sleeps Tonight? Abimelech,
Abimelech,
Abimelech.
Abimelech.
I'm singing it by hand.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Kathy, I've missed you.
Okay, so this story is just about identical. And now, but what happened? I'm not going to have us read the whole one if you want to get through it. But what happened after Abimelech? What did he do with Abraham after he realized that Sarah was his wife?
He gave him all his bunch of stuff and told him to leave, didn't he?
No, that was the first one. This is the second story.
Oh, this is the second one.
So he gave him a bunch of stuff and he let him stay there. So let's see what happens with Isaac as we go on. I want to go to from 12 through 22.
I can do,
Back in 26 now, chapter 26, verses 12 through 22.
When Isaac planted his crops that year, he harvested 100 times more grain than he planted, for the Lord blessed him. He became a very rich man, and his wealth continued to grow. He acquired so many flocks of sheep and goats, herds of cattle, and servants that the Philistines became jealous of him. So the Philistines filled up all of Isaac's wells with dirt. These were the wells they had dug by the servants of his father Abraham. Finally, Abimelech ordered Isaac to leave the country. Go somewhere else, he said, for you have become too powerful for us. So Isaac moved away to the Gerar Valley, where he set up their tents and settled down. He reopened the wells his father had dug, which the Philistines had filled in after Abraham's death. Isaac also restored the names Abraham had given them. Isaac's servants also dug in the Gerar Valley and discovered a well of fresh water. But then the shepherds from Gerar came and claimed the spring. This is our water, they said, and they argued over it with Isaac's herdsmen. So Isaac named the well Esek, which means argument. Isaac's men then dug another well, but again there was a dispute over it. So Isaac named it Sintah, which means hostility. Abandoning that one, Isaac moved on and dug another well. This time there was no dispute over it. So Isaac named the place Rehoboth, which means open space. For he said, at last the Lord has created enough space for us to prosper in this land.
Phew. So what's happening here? Is this now, so when Abraham and Abimelech had this problem, they gave him a bunch of stuff and they said, well, dwell with us. Here we go. Let's make an oath and let's get along with each other. Well, what are the people who now are known as the Philistines? What have they done to Isaac?
They've chased him away. They've taken his water supply and told him to go elsewhere.
Yeah, they filled in his wells.
Dirt. Yeah.
That's just that's a really mean thing to do. That's one way to say, can't stay here, fill in your wells. And then they get a well and they dig it open again. Because it's a hard thing. This is a desert country. So Carol can testify to the desert country it is. In the well.
How many wells did you fill in while you were over there?
I didn't even drink the water while I was over there.
Probably a good thing, yeah.
We bought
Right.
water, yeah.
So we don't understand here, those of us that live by the Great Lakes, the importance of fresh water and how scarce it is in some places. And so this was the fight. Now, this is where I want to talk about Isaac's personality. So what do you think Abraham might have done if someone came and filled in his well and started arguing with his flocks?
Started arguing what?
Arguing that the shepherds were arguing over their flocks. Did that ever happen to Abraham?
Would he have fought with them?
Did he have any problem with people arguing over the water supply and where they should be? That's yours.
What do we know?
How about Lot? Lot and Abraham.
Well, he let Lot choose where he wanted to go.
Okay. So Abraham was definitely in charge. And he said, okay, now, which do you want to do? He was in charge and he said, okay, you take that road, I'll take this road. Now, what happens when Isaac finds this place where they're filling in his wells? What does he do?
No, he just leaves and digs another well.
He just leaves. He goes, okay, sorry guys, didn't mean to offend you. Okay, we'll just move on. And again, another well. They have the fight. They come and they argue. He's okay, sorry guys, sorry to offend you. I'm gonna head out. And finally he goes someplace where nobody's gonna bother him. So can you see the difference in his personality with his father? What happened when Lot was kidnapped? Reminding you of a few stories. When Abraham's nephew Lot was kidnapped, what did Abraham do?
He went and helped him.
He went out, he took all his, they went, fought, got him back, rescued him. Did you see Isaac doing that?
No.
No.
Isaac is a very different person, maybe from birth, maybe from the situation with the sacrifice. We don't know, but Isaac is a different kind of guy. All right, so he's finally got a place where he is. And what was one of the reasons that he was kicked out of the land of Gerar?
Because he had accumulated too many,
Too much wealth.
Yeah,
much wealth. Yeah.
he was too rich. And usually the rich are the one that call the shots. Not this time. He's going, oh, okay, sorry. We'll just leave. We'll just leave. You can just see who he is. All right, let's go on. Let's go from 23 to 33. We're 26 verses 23 through 33.
You want me to read?
Please.
From there, he went up to Beersheba. That night, the Lord appeared to him and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bless you, and I will increase the number of your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham. Isaac built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord. There he pitched his tent, and there his servants dug a well. Meanwhile, Abimelech had come to him from Gerar with Ahuzzath, his personal advisor, and Phicol, the commander of his forces. Isaac asked them, why have you come to me, since you were hostile to me and sent me away? They answered, we saw clearly that the Lord was with you. So we said, there ought to be a sworn agreement between us and you. Let us make a treaty with you that you will do us no harm, just as we did not molest you, but always treated you well and sent you away in peace. And now you are blessed by the Lord. Isaac then made a feast for them, and they ate and drank. Early the next morning, the men swore an oath to each other. Then Isaac sent them on their way, and they left him in peace. That day, Isaac's servants came and told him about the well they had dug. They said, we have found water. He called it Shibah, and to this day, the name of the town has been Beersheba.
Okay,
When Isaac, that's far enough.
that's far enough. Yep. Let's go. Let's go 34 and 35. We'll do that.
When Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, daughter of Uri the Hittite, and also Basemath, daughter of Elon the Hittite. They were a source of grief to Isaac and Rebekah.
Okay, we'll get to that part. But let's look up first to see what Beersheba means. I just read that and I'm trying to look at it. It's something about agreement and, okay, the two words here is a combination of the words for well and oath. Beersheba. And we hear about that in the New Testament. That city remained. All right, so let's look. We've got this personality of Isaac. So he's run away, and now Abimelech comes and wants to make a treaty with him. Why did Abimelech want a treaty with Isaac?
So they will,
Because
so you'll do no harm, us no harm.
They could see the Lord was with him.
Okay. So even though he's got this timid little, oh, sorry, didn't mean to bother you, personality, God obviously blesses him. And so maybe Abimelech is known, they knew Abraham. Abimelech, same name, maybe the son, maybe the grandson, but the stories are Abraham had power. And this is his son. So he's got some power, and we just don't want to be messing around and with the chance that he might become strong. So he makes that treaty. Now we obviously see that Isaac's personality is very different from Abraham's. He's not this big warrior chief. And yet, what does God tell Isaac?
He's going to fulfill the promise that he gave to Abraham.
He says, see, you're still valued. You can have whatever you've been through. Well, I know what you've been through, but you still have value. And the promise I made to your father is still carrying through. You are the child of the promise. You are the one. And I have chosen you. And Carol, this is a time when you jump in and say, what does it mean for the Jewish people to be the chosen people?
Chosen for responsibility, not privilege.
There we go. You are the chosen ones. You are the ones that are, even though your personality isn't what your father is, it's still okay. Anybody have to follow somebody that was really famous or really successful, and you had to be the one following them in the line in your family or someplace else? Any have experience with that?
Just being the only child, I mean, the last child, yeah, I wouldn't want to have to follow Kathy for sure. But yeah, when you're the last child, you look at all the things that your siblings could do, and I know I'm inferior to them all, so it's just the way it is. They let you know that right away.
Really? It's a hard road to follow. I think I'm number 4 in my family, and then there's 6. And we went to such a small school that even through the 6th one, we had a lot of the same teachers, had all 6 of us. And the comparison for my poor younger sister. So which one of your siblings are you like? And she got called Molly all the time. What can I say? But I think the hardest thing is my oldest brother was very successful in everything he did. He was a valedictorian of his class. He just had a personality that everybody loved. And then came the next brother. What do you do after that?
Right.
You know, the second brother, he had all kinds of problems because he just couldn't keep up with that. And you see that all the time in families. Dottie, what?
You goof off and try to be funny.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what he did. And he became a pastor. So it happens. So we know. So Isaac cannot compete with this huge, larger than life personality of his father. But God says it's okay. You are who you are. I accept you for who you are. And you are still in line for the promise. You don't have to be your father. You can be who you are.
Thank heavens.
Yeah. Okay, let's so then we've got these last 2 verses of this chapter are really just kind of stuck in here. We got Esau, who's 40 years old, and who did he marry?
2 girls.
Yep. And where were they from?
They were
They were
Hittites.
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 Do you know anything else about the Hittites ever? From any of your experience that you might remember a story about Hittite? They're throughout the Old Testament. The one story I remember is Uriah the Hittite. Does that register with anyone?
Yeah, when you say that, I know that sounds right, but I can't think of the Uriah.
Uriah the Hittite was Bathsheba's husband.
Oh, that's
Bathsheba
great.
was the one that King David saw bathing and then had her husband killed so he could have her as a wife. Uriah the Hittite was a hired, what do you call people that you hire to fight for you?
Mercenaries.
Mercenary. He was a mercenary. So this was another kingdom. They were not related in any way to Isaac or Abraham. And you think, did that go well? Was that a good thing?
A source of grief.
A source of grief. What else? On verse 35, what other words do you have used?
I have they made life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Okay. These are different culture. They're not happy. They're not happy with Esau because he didn't. This is getting us ready for the next story. That verse is there. That's the storyteller going, So you're listening to the story and he throws this in. Oh, by the way, and Esau got married and he took this wife and they made life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah.
My
And
Bible refers us to verse 46 in the same chapter. Then Rebekah said to Isaac, I'm disgusted with living because of these Hittite women. If Jacob takes a wife from among the women of this land, from Hittite women like these, my life will not be worth living.
okay, so those two verses, once again, we go back to the storyteller sitting around the campfire. And he says, and they made life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah. And, oh, that's a story for another day. Because you know something is coming. That's just put there. Something is coming that's going to be big.
Foreshadowing. Woohoo.
Foreshadowing.
All right.
This is it. I think we're going to do a little bit farther, and I'm not going to go too much into this story because it's a long story. So let's start now with Genesis chapter 26, verses 1 through 17.
27.
Oh, 27. Yep, 27. 1 through 17.
I'll read
Thank you.
17 up to here. Okay. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called for Esau, his older son, and said to him, my son, here I am, he answered. Isaac said, I am now an old man and don't know the day of my death. Now then, get your weapons, your quiver and bow, go out to the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare me the kind of tasty food I like and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my blessing before I die. Now Rebekah was listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau. When Esau left for the open country to hunt game and bring it back, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, look, I overheard your father say to your brother Esau, bring me some game and prepare me some tasty food to eat, so that I may give you my blessing in the presence of the Lord before I die. Now, my son, listen carefully and do what I tell you. Go out to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, so that I can prepare some tasty food for your father, just the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat, so that he may give you his blessing before he dies. Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, but my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I'm a man with smooth skin. When my father touches me, I would appear to be tricking him. Yeah, I think so. And would bring down a curse on myself rather than a blessing. His mother said to him, my son, let the curse fall on me. Just do what I say and go and get them for me. So he went and got them and brought them to his mother, and she prepared some tasty food. just the way his father liked it. Then Rebekah took the best clothes of Esau, her older son, which she had in the house, and put them on her younger son Jacob. She also covered his hands and smooth parts of his neck with the goat skins. Then she handed to her son Jacob the tasty food and bread she had made. He went to his father and said, "My father,"
All right, we'll
Yeah.
stop right
Oh,
there.
sorry,
Stop right there. Now, I want you to think about, I mean, whose idea is this whole deception?
Rebecca's.
Rebecca's.
Whoa,
Not.
whole side of her. We
Yeah.
haven't seen.
Yeah, this is not Jacob. Now let's go back to that. And Isaac loved Rebecca. This tenderness.
Yeah.
She didn't love it, never said she loved him back,
Mm-mm.
right? This is kind of so. Why is Rebecca doing this?
Because she prefers the other son.
Yeah, but that's pretty downright just
Deceitful.
yeah, deceitful and ooh,
She wasn't aware of the deal that Jacob had made with Esau when he was hungry. Or did she? No.
no, we don't know that anybody knew about that.
Because yeah.
Mhm. So this is her way. This is the prophecy she had. She said that the older one's going to serve the younger one. So there's a lot of things to think about. Now think about goat skin. You've seen a goat? I want you to think about Esau. What did this guy look like? I mean,
Harry.
goat skin? You feel goat skin and you think that that's the right son? He must have been like a pelt. He must have
I think every time I've taught this in Sunday school, the kids will say, "Really? You know, would he really believe that?"
now some of it there's some place in here, and I can't find right where I read it because I was preparing that there's this other, the Edomites were a much darker, hairier kind of people. And so by putting all of these things in here, is putting this race of people connected to Esau later on, which may or may not have been. But I mean, I think Neanderthal when I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
about Esau.
Yeah.
And he's just out there. And so Rebecca, so what did Jacob think of this whole idea?
Well, he didn't back down. He just said, I don't think we can fool him because he's so hairy. But he didn't say no.
But what was he afraid of?
A curse instead of a blessing.
Yeah, he was scared. His father's going to curse me if we do this. So what kind of personality did Rebecca have? What'd you say?
Strong.
Strong. You don't
Strong.
mess with me, Jacob. You do what I say. I'll take the curse on myself. You do this.
The wife.
Yes. She is the one that ruled the roost in this house. You got Isaac is the quiet, timid, oh, sorry, didn't mean to bother you. And Rebecca's going, you do this. I don't care.
Wasn't-
if you're scared.
Oh, that was sitting there.
Dan, you say something?
No, I'm just trying
He's
to
getting
figure
the
out.
women all confused.
Okay.
I need a family tree here.
I do too.
Okay. So we've got, let's go. We got Abraham had Sarah. Abraham and Sarah. Then Sarah had Isaac. Isaac's married to Rebecca. And Isaac and Rebecca have Jacob and Esau. So we got these right direct lines. All right. And Rebecca then is the cousin or the sister of Laban, who we're going to meet later.
Here's your family tree. I don't know if you can see it or not. There it is.
that
Here it is.
looks too,
The
that looks
book I
too
bought
easy.
while I was over there.
It's pretty easy. It's pretty direct. I mean, we've got Ishmael and offshoot, we've got other offshoots, but it's pretty direct. Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebecca, have Jacob and Esau. Then it gets complicated after that. No simple thing there. All right, so we've got Jacob. The mom is preparing the food. Jacob is going, don't know if I want to do it. Not going to work. You do it. You do as I say. Let's see how the plan works. We're not going to finish this whole story, but we can start. So let's start with verse 18 and go through 29.
What chapter?
We are 27.
So Jacob took the food to his father. My father, he said. Yes, my son, Isaac answered. Who are you, Esau or Jacob? Jacob replied, it's Esau, your firstborn son. I've done as you told me. Here is the wild game. Now sit up and eat it so you can give me your blessing. Isaac asked, how did you find it so quickly, my son? The Lord your God put it in my path, Jacob replied. Then Isaac said to Jacob, come closer so I can touch you and make sure that you really are Esau. So Jacob went closer to his father and Isaac touched him. The voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau's, Isaac said. But he did not recognize Jacob because Jacob's hands felt hairy, just like Esau's. So Isaac prepared to bless Jacob. But are you really my son Esau? Yes, I am, Jacob replied. Then Isaac said, now my son, bring me the wild game. Let me eat it, and then I will give you my blessing. So Jacob took the food to his father, and Isaac ate it. He also drank the wine that Jacob served him. Then Isaac said to Jacob, please come a little closer and kiss me, my son. So Jacob went over and kissed him, and when Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, he was finally convinced, and he blessed his son.
I'm
He said,
I'm gonna stop just a second. Okay, the deception is complete. Now, this goes with Isaac's personality. What things tell us that he was suspicious?
The voice sounded like Jacob.
Voice sounded like Jacob's. He goes, this isn't right. Something isn't right here. And instead of trusting his own instincts, and he feels the hands and then he does it a second time. He says, come closer. And he's trying to get to the bottom of it. And he's going, smells like Esau. I smell his clothes. Smells like Esau. He's got the hairy neck too. Okay. But Isaac had no confidence in himself. He knew it was Jacob, but they knew they could pull it over on him. Pull the goat skin over him, as to speak.
He
All right.
also got food so fast. He wondered why he had the food so quickly.
So he just did not trust himself. He had no confidence in himself. He knew it couldn't have been. But he goes, well, you said it. I believe you. Okay, don't want to bother you. No problem here. Okay. Give you the blessing. So let's read the blessing. If someone would like to read the blessing.
I got it.
Okay.
The smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give you a heaven's dew and of earth's richness, an abundance of grain and new wine. May nations serve you and people bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may the sons of your mother bow down to you. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed.
All right. There's something in here that sticks out that we haven't heard of before. What is it? Verse 29.
Yeah, may nations serve you and people bow down to you.
That's not the place.
Be Lord over your brothers.
Oh, ooh. How many brothers did Jacob have?
One.
One that we know of that's mentioned. And
Right.
your
Sorry. Mine just says, may you rule over all your relatives,
Oh, you relatives.
and may your mother's descendants bow down before you.
Okay. Who else has that verse? It says, Lord over your brothers. Does anybody else have that?
Read
Ours
that.
had Lord over brothers.
Brothers.
May the sons of your mother bow down to you.
Yeah, it's highly possible that after these two were born, there were other children. We don't know that they weren't. But this was the son of the promise once again. And this sounds like there were some more children coming. More children after that. So just a little piece there. But this is a really nice blessing of good things. So we're going to leave that there and we're going to find out the rest of the story and what happens when Esau comes home from the hunt next week.
Ooh,
Ooh, that's a
Ooh,
cliffhanger.
It's interesting that Isaac had questions that it wasn't Esau. It just seems like he knew right from the beginning there was something was up. And I wonder why he would just not trust his sons to do or not do what they did.
I don't know. Do you think?
Well, if I ever heard my son's voice sounded like Jacob and the food came so fast, I maybe would be a little suspicious, especially when they have rivalry.
And Jacob out and out lied and took God's name in vain and said, God's been merciful to me or blessed me. So he just went out and was able to just kill an animal. That doesn't usually happen when you're hunting. Of course, I don't know. Isaac Pillblad was out on the first day of hunting and got a deer. His first year hunting. It doesn't, people can go out for a long time. Even now.
Well, would he get goats would that taste like wild game? Wouldn't he notice a difference in taste?
That's what I wondered too.
Well, goats are kind of a gamey tasting animal. How many of you had goats?
We had
Goat fudge.
we had goat that was Indian food, so I'm not sure we would know that it that was different. It was in a stew kind of
Enough
thing.
spices, it could have been anything.
Yeah, I've had goat a lot of times in Haiti. It's very tasty, but if you wanted me to pick, it tastes a lot like lamb, only a little gamier taste. And I don't know, I've had venison, and it depends on the spices you put in. If you know, Rebecca knew how to cook for her husband, it tasted really good. He might not have picked up that it was not the game that he wanted, but he really knew that it wasn't Esau, and yet he just didn't trust himself, which is all fitting with Isaac's personality. Interesting. Any other comments or questions?
So they were in the region of Edom. Is that what I understand?
Well, not in Edom. Esau was called Edom. And so that was where his descendants, where he went afterwards.
Okay,
I'm not
because
sure what
our
Gerar is.
guide,
There's something near Gerar, wherever that was.
our guide in Jordan had written that book that I just showed you, and he showed us the different regions, and in the north was Gilead, and then south of that was Ammon, where the Ammonites came from, and then where Moses stood on top of the mountain was Moab, and then below that was Edom.
Okay.
And I thought that was interesting when you said that. I wondered that's where those descendants settled. Then is that what you're saying?
That's supposedly the descendants of Esau were in Edom, became the Edomites.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay.
Okay. So there they are. So interesting story, kind of a human nature story. And, you know, when you read these, they just ring so true about these twin rivals between the twin boys. And we see it. So any other questions or comments before I shut us off for the night? Okay. See you all later.